Hello everyone. Subscribe to our channel for amazing life stories. Thank you. Enjoy watching. I'm 36 years old and my wife is 38. We met when I was a third-year student and she was a fifth-year student. Since then, we have been together. After 3 years of relationship, we started lived together for 3 more years and got married. After 2 years, my wife got pregnant and we had a daughter. That was our life, and we had quarrels, but nothing happens without them. We made up immediately or even during a quarrel. In general, it was a classic family. I went to work after the institute, then to another job, and began to grow in his career, eventually earned a nice house. We did a decent renovation there and moved in. My wife, by the way, after my maternity leave also went to work and she did well, got a good position, began to earn decent money, and the sum of my earnings made us a very decent amount. In general, over time we have everything. We bought an apartment for our daughter, expensive cars. I love my wife, I never cheated, I do not drink, and until recently I smoked. Vacations have always been planned together. I have developed hobbies such as diving and mountain skiing. My wife refused to go scuba diving on the grounds that she was afraid, but she took up skiing. That's pretty much how we lived, planning vacations, making money, and spending it at our pleasure. My wife's job was connected to foreign business, and she was often visited by colleagues from abroad to negotiate. A little over a year ago, I began to notice that when these colleagues flew and my wife stayed much longer than she had years before, but I didn't pay much attention to it. In the evening, before going to bed, my wife began to receive some messages by telegram or WhatsApp, and I noticed one peculiarity when the colleagues flew in from abroad. The messages did not come in the evening. A couple of times when she went to sleep, I checked my phone, but all messages were cleaned up. For example, I exactly thought that the phone beeped at 23 to 10. After she fell asleep, I checked her phone and did not see the message. After 7 p.m., none of the chats, and then came the moment when suspicion finally settled in me. Once again, she came home late at 10 p.m. and I joked, "Did you see your lover?" I had never seen such frightened eyes, but when she saw me smiling, she smiled and looked away, saying that I was a fool. On top of everything else, she also sometimes flew abroad to her colleagues on a return visit. And then one day I could not stand it and put on her phone program Spy, allowing commands by SMS or from a private office to manage your cell phone. I could record my surroundings, take pictures with the camera, and send it all to my personal account. As a result, she flies away again on a business trip. I come home from work in the evening, do homework with my daughter, send her to bed at 22:00, and myself climbing into the personal cabinet, spy, and send a command to record 10 minutes of the environment of the phone. After 30 minutes, the recording appears in the office. I listen and realize that she is indoors with a man. They are discussing some mundane things in life with a chuckle. I am clearly beginning to realize that there is no one else in the room but her and him. Then I hear glasses clinking, her laughter. At this point, my pulse is already racing. I send the team off to record another 20 minutes and take a photo. I get a black square and realize that the phone is facing downward, so I send the command to take a photo with the front camera. I get a picture which I use to understand that the phone is on the nightstand in the room because I can see the sconces and part of the bed's headband. 15 minutes later, I get another recording. My hands were shaking. I turned on the playback again, the chattering, the laughter of her and him. In principle, I was already in some kind of incomprehensible state. It seemed to me that all this was unreal. My world was crumbling before my eyes. I poured myself a glass and sent the team off to record for hours, after which I just got drunk. In the morning Thursday, my daughter woke me up. She had to go to school. I told her she could not go today, wrote to work that I take on my own account a couple of days until Monday. The wife flew in on Sunday and myself sat down to listen to the tape for 4 hours, but I was satisfied even with 40 minutes, as at this point I heard exactly the moans of a woman with whom I have lived for over 13 years, and I know exactly what those moans are. At that moment it was as if I had been stabbed. I was in so much pain that I even felt physical pain. I ran to the bathroom where I threw up. I don't even know which more from the hangover or this situation. I stood under an icy shower for 20 minutes. After that, I took the child to her parents and said I would explain everything later. She called at lunchtime and genuinely asked, "How are you doing, love?" And I stood silently like an idiot with the phone to my ear and couldn't get a sound out of me. After she asked me a second time, I pulled myself together and said that everything was fine, referring to the poor connection. I said I was sick and would stay home for a couple of days and took my daughter to her grandmother. That day was the most difficult for me. I saw hell. I did not find myself. I did not know where to put myself and what to do in general. My head was so noisy that I could not hear my own thoughts. I sat on the couch and roared like a girl. Then came the rage, then apathy. But the more I discharged my emotions, the easier I became. I just felt like all the things that I raised all these years in relation to her were dying inside me. By the end of the day, I was almost emotionally dead. In the evening, I went back into my personal office and started sending commands to my phone. I was getting pictures sometimes from my bag, sometimes from my desk. Came back tapes on which it was heard that she is somewhere in the restaurant, and there are a lot of them apparently really with his colleagues. And in the evening, the most interesting thing began again. The phone on the bedside table. Again his and her voices, only now without moans. And then I couldn't take it anymore and called. She picked up the phone at about the fourth ring and I could hear her panting. I asked her what exactly was wrong, why was she breathing like that? The answer: the elevator at the hotel broke down and I walked up the stairs to my room. I chatted with her for literally a minute. It was unbearably difficult keeping my voice calm and not shaking. Told her I was okay and that I was going to bed, wished her sweet dreams, and hung up, and myself sent the command to take a quick series of photos with the front camera. Here she made a mistake. When she finished talking to me, she put the phone not on the knit stand but on the bed next to me, and the front camera began to send slightly crooked but generally understandable photos of half of her body with the view upwards, that she is sitting naked in a horse woman's pose on another body with her head tilted back. And then came the sound recording of the same familiar sounds of a wife that any husband would know very well what she was doing right now. That was my last straw. I kept those recordings and materials even though for some reason she seemed like a complete stranger to me at this point. In the end, I didn't try to find out anything else until Sunday. Everything was already clear. I began to think about what to do next. Divorce. A scandal. What about my daughter? She's only 9. Sunday afternoon she came home and started kissing me and I recoiled. I reminded her that I was sick and I wanted to punch her so badly myself. I went to sleep in my study on the couch. In the morning I got up before her and left for work. I couldn't be around her, I said. Like a zombie at work all day. Then I got up and rolled all these notes and pictures onto a flash drive. Also added my video address to her, which I went and recorded in the meeting room at work on my phone. The address included the questions: why? What were you thinking? Have I been such a shitty husband all these years that you could flush me down the toilet like that? Well, pretty much the classics, not in these situations. Then I went to my boss and told him I was taking a week off. I called my wife and told her that I was flying out on a business trip today for 1 day, but I asked my daughter not to take her from her grandmother because I had a surprise for her in the evening. I will come, only a bag, quickly collect. I arrived, she was already packing for me and was just the very kindness and innocence, but I, seeing this hypocrisy, came just in a rage. I took my bag through the flash drive on the knit stand in the bedroom and secretly took a cab to the second apartment, the one for my daughter. It was empty. From there, I called a friend and asked if he wanted to go away for a few days somewhere abroad. He agreed. We booked tickets in their evening and flew to Munich early in the morning. There I told him everything. We drank, walked around, and of course with women. Honestly, I no longer felt I owed something to my wife. I did not answer my wife's calls. I only wrote that there was a flash drive, one bedside table in the bedroom, and I wanted her to put it in her laptop. After about half an hour, my phone turned red with calls and messages, but I didn't even want to read anything. I just didn't care anymore. I turned it off. In the end, we walked in Munich for 3 more days. On Saturday, I flew home. Upon arrival, I turned on my cell phone, and it was on for about 5 minutes trying to digest the number of messages she had sent me. I didn't read them lest I suddenly wind myself up before entering the apartment. When I entered, the apartment was silent. I silently set my bag down, got and rest, and was about to go wash my hands when she came out of the bedroom. God, I had never seen her so swollen and disheveled. Her face was gone. She threw herself on her knees and started mumbling through her snot and tears, trying to explain something to me. I made a stony face and asked her not to start a circus. Then I asked her in a calm tone, "What are we going to do?" She begged me to forgive her. She started crying and crying again, saying that she was playing around, that she didn't understand how she had gotten to this point, started calling herself a scumbag. But I caught myself thinking that I don't feel pity or rage for her anymore. She screamed that she loved and always loved only me, and all this happened only because she got greedy and in all the days that I was away realized that she had broken our Crystal Castle with her own hands. But as they say, revenge is a dish to be served cold. I said that now we're not husband and wife, now we're just mom and dad to our daughter, and we'll pretend that we're fine, but I'll live my life and you can live yours. You're not the one for me anymore, you're just my parenting partner. Maybe someday I'll change my mind, but right now I just get sick just thinking about being close to her. By the way, I told her where I was and what I was doing. She said she understood and was ready to put up with it as long as it took well. No one pulled her tongue. As a result, now we live in one house, although to be honest, I bought another one for myself and registered it in my father's name so there would be no claims in case of division of property. I sleep almost constantly in the study, although sometimes, for the sight of his daughter, I go to sleep in the bedroom. My wife has made a few attempts to hug me when I lay down with her on the same bed, but I firmly suppressed them. We hadn't been intimate for 6 months. She hasn't told her parents anything, only my father knows. We agreed that once a year we go as a family on vacation for a week, but now it will be separate beds. I always hang out with friends. I bought my motorcycle again, although I sold it at my wife's insistence when I still respected her opinion. I went diving in the summer and in the mountains with friends in December. I have new friends, among them are beautiful women. I quit smoking. I work out at the gym and I lost 10 kilograms. I have relief again and my body began to show through. I sometimes wonder when she comes over and say she's had enough and leaves, or for example file for divorce and divide the property, but she does not. I constantly catch her eyes, like the look of a cat from Shrek, but I honestly don't give any more, although I can see that she is trying, but I revel in her pain. Recently, I defiantly put a pack of condoms on the table in the office to see her reaction. She came in to say something, saw them on the table, and flew out of the office with a bullet, probably crying. I did not catch up with her. She still goes to work, but the truth is no longer delayed, though honestly I do not follow practically. One day she came and tried to explain to me that she broke off all relations with that man except for business. Smiley face. Unlike for work, she still has to communicate with him by letters or in negotiations, but she swears she doesn't even go near him now. The creep has a family too, by the way, to which I told her that her relationships with sexual partners are none of my business and she's free to do what she wants. No need to report back on whether or not she spread her legs today. I myself now sometimes come back after midnight or leave when my daughter goes to bed, from Friday to Saturday, for example. Naturally, I do not limit myself in anything. If I want sex, it will definitely happen. I come in the morning and go to the study to sleep or to the bedroom if she is not there already. Nothing has changed in the home routine. I still buy groceries I love and know how to cook. We had a housekeeper to clean, so nothing has changed here. I still pay for the house where she spends her money, and whether she spends it, I don't care. Communication as lovers we have only for the daughter or her parents if they come. Although I think if I told my mother-in-law, she would probably strangle her right in front of me. I have a great relationship with my mother-in-law. She is an intelligent woman and strictly honors family values. Surely this is another argument for why my wife doesn't want to leave. Apparently she's afraid of my mother because my mom will definitely ask what the hell is going on. And I'm not going to lie, the only thing I send her now with personal requests, reasoning that it was necessary to pick up a lover from the same country and city, and then she would have an assistant and 5 hours of flight. In general, I add her as much as I can, and I like it so much. Yes, I may be a monster now, but it is a monster she herself has created. And I just am amazed by her stubbornness and patience. It's for me like a red rag for a bull. I wonder how much more she will be able to endure. And don't give me that she's the mother of your child blah blah crap. When she gave herself to that gal, she didn't care to muck 6 months traveling around on business trips or here in the city spreading her legs without thinking about her daughter or her husband. No comments. Every time I think my armor cracks, I remember the day I learned everything what I experienced then, and I let go. I get granted again, so this is how I live now. My daughter is fine for her. We are great parents. I still do homework with her in the evenings. Mutual friends don't know anything. Maybe when I get tired of testing her or realize I've had enough, I'll turn off bastard mode and sit down to talk to her. But not now. Thank you for watching to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you. See you on the new episode.